Well, I'm starting my knife bevel grinding jig, my new one. I have one that I built a long time ago, and it's worked great. But since I built it several years ago, I've realized some of the things that I would do differently if I were to make another one, and I'm doing that now. So here's what I got: strap hinge. Actually, I had to buy two because they come in a pair. These are stainless, and that's one thing I'm doing, is making it out of aluminum and stainless. So that's a stainless hinge that I cut a little bit off of, and then I had to hammer the I had to mushroom the pin down so it won't slide out. I've got all my holes marked with my new center punch. I've got my handles. These are going to be my handles. They're going to go right here. And then I got to cut a block off of this, about that big, which is going to go here, and the same amount which is going to go here. And then there'll be a rod connecting it between this and that, or I'll probably have, like what I have now, is a nut and a wing nut to adjust this angle. So anyway, I'm at the point now where I need to write down what screws I need, because I'm going to be coming up through the bottom of this with a tapered screw, a countersunk screw, so it sits flush with the bottom of this. And I'm going to be doing the same with these, except some bigger ones. I'm going to come up through the bottom, drill and tap here, put some Loctite on it, crank them down really tight, and maybe they won't. You know, I may have to put one big one and then off to the side drill just a small hole so it won't twist. Okay, so I'm still got some thinking. I don't have a plan drawn out. I just got something in my head I want to do. So I need to get stainless quarter 20s, a quarter 20 stainless rod to fit between the block I'm going to put here and the block I'm going to put here. What I'm going to do is mill a slot in each block. So alrighty, that's all I got. I can't do any more till I get this holes drilled and get the screws in, so I got to stop and go get screws. All right, I got my holes drilled for the hinge. I went to my hardware store and they had what I needed. So now I need to taper all these screw holes for this tapered screw, and a little more tapering to do. See how that looks. A little more. Okay, this is just roughly done, and that's how this is going to look, like this. And then I'm going to have a block here that I mill a groove in, and a block here that I mill a groove in, and then this rod is going to go between them. And I've got a wing nut and a nut that I'll use to adjust the angle of this. It's going to be just like my other one, except a whole lot more tighter tolerance wise, and more accurate, and everything is 100% square. I've used a micrometer and calipers and everything. So all right, the next thing is drill my holes for my handles, thread these handles. I've got some quarter 20 stainless that I'll be drilling up through here, and then when I get these mounted like that, this will come up from the bottom, this will be threaded. I'm going to drill an 1/8 inch hole in probably the corner and drive a stainless rod in there, just so, since I'm only putting one bolt in there, I don't want them to turn around. So that's where I'm at now. All right, I got those handles, those holes drilled for the handles. Now I need to drill and tap these for 1/4 20. I've never tapped aluminum. I don't know, just based on drilling aluminum, I know the bits load up real quick, so I'll use a lot of lube. I'm gonna go out to my other shop. Actually, I'm gonna go out to my other shop because I can clamp these to the table and make them square to the drill. And this, my Grizzly, is, I don't think it's gonna go up. Let me see. Let me block one of these, tighten one of these up and see. Okay, I got the pilot holes drilled. I think 3/16 is gonna be big enough. Now, I got a choice. I think I'm just gonna go to my shop and get the tap, the tap, and bring it back here. Because you know what? It's hot out there. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Go get my set of taps and bring it back in here. Well, this wasn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be, but I am making some progress. I gotta see how far this will go in. Because, boy, aluminum doesn't thread easy. Or maybe I just didn't drill a big enough hole. Anyway, whatever's sticking out is the length I'm going to cut off on the end there. So I'll have more than enough. I'm using blue Loctite, and then I'm going to put epoxy under this so it won't wiggle. And then when it's all dry, I told you I was going to come in at the corner here with a stainless pin. I'm going to drill right through the base and right through here, and then hammer a stainless pin in. So that's what I'll need to cut off. My only other option is to drill straight through this and then use the same kind of countersunk screw, but put a nut on the top to hold it. So I'll cut that much off and put this on, and we'll see what it looks like, how it feels. All right, I got them threaded. These will come up from the bottom. But first I'm going to mix up some epoxy just so these don't rock, you know. So let me do that, mix some epoxy up, and then I'll be ready to screw these on. I am going to put some blue Loctite on here. And I don't think that'll affect the epoxy. Yeah, I'll do that. All right, I think I'm gonna let the epoxy dry overnight and come back tomorrow. These holes here are this hole, not these two. These two and these two are all what I mount my knife on. You know, if I'm grinding from here on out, I would mount them on this side. And if I'm grinding from here on out, I would mount them on this side, you know, when I flip it around. So this is gonna go here. And there's a rod. The rod's gonna come through from there to here with an adjustment wing nut and a nut and a wing nut. So this will adjust the angle. Okay. So I think I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. I'm gonna let this dry good and hard because I only got that one threaded bolt in there and I had to cut that in half. So I want to give that every opportunity to dry unmoved. All right, so we'll be back tomorrow. Oh yeah, when I get my new bevel grinding jig done, that is going to be my new table. Okay, I'm sort of at a a crossroads, I guess you'd say. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. I have my basic idea. I went and bought a bunch of 10 by 24 brass screws. I'm hoping to come up through the bottom into this, and then there'll be a hole drilled this way through this, and I intend to come from here through the hole. There'll be a nut on the front and a wing nut on the back, and that is how. Let me show you my old one just so you get an idea of what I'm going for. So that's it, and these two are what I rest. I used to unbolt these and bolt the knife to it, and then I just started resting the knife on these, and that worked. So that I got those. That's these, and these not those. These 1, 2, 3, 4 are the holes that I'm going to be leaving those nuts and bolts in. These are stainless. And then I could move them. I'm going to drill some holes up here just in case I need them. You know, it's just easier to drill it before I get it put all together. So that's done. So the only thing I'm stuck with figuring out is how I'm going to get, this is not, oh yeah, this is stainless, but it's not the right head. It's not a tapered head or a countersunk head. So I can't leave it where it will stick out here. And I cannot for the life of me figure out. Now, if I had one with a countersunk head, I could do that. I could have it come through here. I could put a nut on it. Jeez. Hold on. I need my right hand. My hands are particularly shaky this morning. My wife has gone on her motorcycle, so I'm going to worry to death until she gets back. So that's what I want, only it will be mounted through either this upper or lower hole. But I need one with a countersunk head, and if I don't, then I need to figure out what I'm going to do beyond that. This is not going to be a problem. See, this nut will go on this side, and this wing nut will go on the back side, just like this. And that's how I adjust this. I loosen that, and then there's not very much adjustment. There's only a few turns in either direction that I actually use, because all my knives have roughly the same height of a bevel. So I'm never far from that angle right there. Anyway, I'll figure it out. This is what I got so far. I'm thinking on it. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I tell you, nothing has gone right. My wife went for a ride on her motorcycle, and I cannot think straight when she's gone on her bike, because all I can do is worry about her. So I'm blaming this on her. So here we are. This is not exactly what I wanted to do, but I encountered a problem that I have no explanation for. These are 1024 screws, supposedly. This is a 1024 tap, supposedly. And I could not get these screws. I started to go in. Okay, I don't know why you wouldn't. There. I could not get the screws, the brass screws, the 10 by 24 screws, to go into that 10 by 24 hole. For the life of me, I could not get it to go in there. And I gave up. I don't know what the answer is, but The hardware store is closed now, and for me to do something different, I got to drive a long ways to the next town over to, you know, Lowe's, Home Depot, or something like that. So here we are. This is what it's going to look like, and just like these, before I bolt these down permanent, I'm going to put epoxy underneath here just so it'll have a solid bed to sit on, you know. Anyway, that's not what I planned on doing, but it'll have to work. It will work. It's just not my original plan. So this, I'm thinking, the angle that I move this is slight. You know, I mean, I might start here and then the angle goes there. I mean, it's like probably 2 or 3 degrees difference in the angle. So I'm thinking of bolting a block here and threading it with a 1/4 inch, 1/4 20. That's what that is. That rod is 1/4 20. And drilling this up just a little bit so it will move in and out easier. Threading this, putting the rod up in there, and bolting this here. Not quite that long, probably about half that size. And yeah, everything went along great until I got to this part, and this is not working. It's gonna work now, but it's not my original plan, and I kind of hate deviating from my original plan because it was going to have hidden screws in the bottom and look all neat and professional. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut the excess off of these screws here. Not these. These I'm going to be moving up or down depending on what I'm cutting, so what I'm grinding. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to cut these off and be done with it. And then I'm going to be thinking about this, and I really think that threading it is going to work. I have no other ideas, I guess. So let me stop it. I'm going to cut these off right now, and I'll be thinking when I come to a conclusion or when I have a course of action, I'll let you know. Oh, man, I have just been racking my brain trying to figure out what's going on here. I've threaded these with a 10-20 tap. As a matter of fact, I went in from both sides just to make sure the threads were cut. I can only get this screw to go in just a little bit, and then I've already snapped one off, so I had to take it out with a pair of pliers. But I think I finally understand. Let me okay, I think what's happening here is if you look at the threads down here, it looks like it's rounding off or squeezing the top of these sharp threads. You see how they're sharp and then how they're rounded off on the end here? I think what's happening is my tap, maybe brass screws are different. It's a 1/4 20 thread, there's no doubt about that. But I'm thinking that my tap is not cutting the threads deep enough. I'm 99% sure that's what's going on. So I don't need much to go in there. I only need about 3/8 of an inch. So I think what I'm going to do is chuck this screw up in my drill, and I'm going to sand the top of these. I only need 2, and I only need them to hold in conjunction with the epoxy. So I think I'm going to put this in my drill and knock the tops off of these threads on this screw. That'll be easy enough to do, and I'll know in just minutes whether that's it or not. So let me get that done. All right, I got some major Yankee engineering going on here. But when you live in the bush, you gotta make do. Okay, here's my drill. Here's some sandpaper. And I gotta cut this down a little bit thinner. Hold on. I'm knocking the, I guess you could say, the high spots off of them threads. And I don't want to spoil the suspense, but it's working because I got one in there. So, all right, there we go. And when you live out like I do, you know, I mean, I live in a little tiny town, but we don't have a lot going on as far as hardware and stores being open. Yeah, I'm going to go to the end of the sandpaper and all right, now what I want to do is cut the end of this off on my bandsaw and put it in there. So I've learned a couple of valuable things while I've been doing this. Here we go. Yep. I don't know why, but aluminum, when you're drilling aluminum, it'll sure plug up a drill bit. I don't know if there's special drills for drilling aluminum or what, but boy, I'll tell you what. And then tapping aluminum, same thing with the tap. Just filled up the flutes on the tap. All right, so there we go. I've never, well, not never, but I don't recall having worked with aluminum to this degree, especially threading and tapping. Let me see if I can get them going from both sides. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this has been interesting. I really thought I'd be done by now. I wonder if I didn't get the threads off of this enough. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, now I'm going to put this in my mill, and I'm going to mill a 1/4 inch slot down here. Then I'm going to cut the end off of this, and this will be going in that slot, and I'll have something going through the middle of that, of a pin or something. We'll be back. It's coming together. I got a plan now. I'm going to drill a hole through this, all the way through both sides. Here we go. All right. It's done except for I got to take this off and clean everything up with acetone. Mix my epoxy up. See, I'm going to have epoxy underneath these just so they're flush and they won't move. And it gives them just a little bit of extra help. So here we go. This fought me every step. Well, no, this fought me today. Yesterday was a piece of cake. I got all this except for this and this done in no time at all. So here's how you adjust this. First of all, your knife goes here, laying across here. You clamp it to this. You adjust your bevel like this. When you get the bevel the degree you want, you lock it with that. You lock it with that. Now I'm going to cut the back off of this, probably up to about there, but I just still wanted to assemble this and show it off, I guess. Yeah, that's a lot of work, I tell you what. Well, I got Loctite on all that, and I'll put Loctite on these, so it's going to be good. I like it. And the thing is, this won't rust when I have to, I dunk the whole thing in a bucket of water as I'm working on it. That way you don't overheat your metal. So there we go. I'll give you just a little turn on the catwalk here. All right, I enjoyed it. Well, mostly. When I put it back together tomorrow after the epoxy dries, I'll knock these off. This, I did not want to do this, but I didn't realize what the problem was with these until it was too late. Is it too late? Yeah, it's too late. It's not so bad. I didn't want them showing. I wanted them coming up through the bottom and flush, just like these. But it's all right. It's not the space shuttle, isn't that what Terrell says? Okay, so there you go. I got all this metal except the hinges and the screws, nuts and bolts. But the aluminum, how's that? I got all the aluminum at onlinemetals.com, and if I can remember, I will leave a link. Now, I did apply for an affiliate sponsorship with them, and they approved me. But I had to fill out so much tax stuff, including a federal ID number, which I actually have from my old business, but I don't want to complicate my taxes any more than they are, so I didn't go with it. So I'm going to leave a link to Online Metals because, in all honesty, it is the best place I have found to buy aluminum, steel, tubing, bar, but not knife making steel. They don't sell high carbon steel, but everything else they sell. Even threaded rod, they sell brass tubing, which I buy. They sell stainless tubing, brass rod, stainless rod. All my metal that is not knife making metal I buy through onlinemetals.com, and I'll leave a link below. And if you got anything out of this, I'd appreciate you shopping through my Amazon link, which I do make a few dollars on. And Amazon is where I got this hinge. I got two. You had to buy them in a pack of 2, so I have an extra one. So there you go. Thanks for watching, y'all.